Welcome to From the Den podcast, providing Bears and NFL fans alike with compelling news, discussion, and debate. I'm your co-host Benjamin, joined alongside my dear friend and co-host Oren.
Hey Benjamin, let's get right into it. As always, kickoff starts now.
Welcome to this special clip of From the Den, where today we have a special guest, DaWindyCity production. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I think we're both doing well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're going to be talking about the Foles versus Trubisky quarterback competition. We already did this a bit in some other videos, but I'm interested in your insight. For those of you who don't know, DaWindyCity Productions has a YouTube channel with around 15,000 subscribers, so we're really excited to have you on here, like Oren said. But we are just interested in knowing who do you think will get the starting job, Trubisky or Foles, and who do you think should?
For sure. So I gave this answer on like another podcast I was on too. So there's two different answers I can give, right? There's one I can give based on my heart and one that I can give based on my head. If you ask me based on my heart who I want to win this job, it's definitely Mitch by far. I mean, we drafted this kid number 2 overall a couple years ago. We invested so much energy into him. It's better for the franchise overall if this kid actually succeeds because, you know, we've had so much of an investment in this guy. But if you ask me based on my head who I think is going to win, it's probably going to be Nick Foles based on, you know, how much experience he has in a system like this. You know, he worked with a lot of the coaches as well. You know, John DeFilippo, I think Matt Nagy was there too in Philadelphia when he was there, Nick Foles. So he has a lot of experience working with these guys. And, you know, I feel like experience in this point in time, it's going to be vital for a team like the Bears because now we're not going to wait that long to win games anymore, right? We're not going to be okay with these rookie mistakes that Trubisky is still making sometimes. We need somebody that has experience in these situations, knows how to win playoff games, you know, has seen a lot of different defensive coverages. And I think that that's what Nick Foles really gives you, right? Because he's been here for a long time. He's had a lot of success too. Not that much with the Jaguars, obviously, or the Rams or the other teams he was on, but in this type of system, if you give him a good defense, if you give him, you know, good receiving options, I think he can get the job done. So I would say most likely it's going to be Nick Foles based on that. But, man, I want Trubisky to win, obviously. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, that's interesting. Do you think that Ryan Pace has given up on Trubisky yet in signing Nick Foles, or do you think that he still has some dignity left in him since he was the guy who drafted Mitch and it's kind of like his biggest his most.
I don't think he's given up on him per se, because I feel like if he gave up on him, he would go after somebody else that would kind of have a higher chance of winning the job.
Like, you think Foles could be a mentor, like just have big.
Yeah, because Foles is also the type of guy that if he doesn't win the job, right, he's not going to be that mad. Like, if we got somebody, for example, like Cam Newton, right? I know a lot of people want Cam Newton. I feel like Cam Newton would not be happy being the backup behind Trubisky, if you get what I'm saying. Like, Foles, you know, he's going to be content, I feel like, if he doesn't win that job. He's going to be okay with just riding on the bench and doing what he can for the team. But, like, Newton and, like, some other QBs that we wanted, like, they would probably want to start. So I feel like in that, if you look at it from that point of view, getting Foles, it doesn't push Trubisky. I mean, it does obviously push Trubisky, but it doesn't make things, like, too uncomfortable if he doesn't win. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because Nick Foles has really been a career backup. So I definitely agree with that. If he doesn't get the job, he's not gonna he's got benched last year for Minshew. Or really, I guess he wasn't benched because he got injured, but still, he has experience with this type of stuff. So yeah, definitely, that's something to consider that I wasn't thinking about.
Yeah, and I would say about this whole competition is that, like you said, you want Mitch to win. I think it's better for this franchise. It's better for all Bears fans that if Mitch wins. But as you've seen by all the moves Ryan Pace has made this year, he's trying to win this season and maybe next season. He's not trying to win in the future. And Trubisky, the way he's playing, you know what? He might be a good quarterback in 2 or 3 years, but it feels like that might take a bit of time. And he's still, like, the rookie mistakes he's making, it still feels like he's making them over and over, while Nick Foles, he's not going to make those. So in the long term, Trubisky is the quarterback that you would want. But I'm not sure that at this point for this Bears team that Trubisky is the right quarterback.
Oh, I agree with that 100%, man. Like, I feel like Trubisky on a different team, maybe in a different system, he could have a lot of success. If you take a look at a guy like, Ryan Tannehill on the Titans, so many years into his career, or, there's a lot of quarterbacks that like later in their career, right? That's when they have success. I feel like potentially Mitch could be that type of guy if he doesn't have success with us. Obviously I hope he do, but yeah, you're right. Like we can't wait at this point. Like we have such a good defense. We have some playmakers on offense too. Like our time to win a Super Bowl is now. So, yeah, I agree. If Foles gives us the chance to win right now, we would definitely go with Foles.
Yeah, but there's also some concern in that some people might think that Nick Foles is overhyped since he really had that. He had that one great year in 2017 with
the
Super Bowl MVP thing, but he didn't win a game last year when he started. So people act like, some people like to say, like Nick Foles would be the better quarterback easily, or he just come in and play great. But really, there could be a concern that Foles would be even worse than Trubisky.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, like the options they had on the Jaguars squad, like they weren't good at all. He didn't really have many people to throw to.
Right.
And yeah, I get what you're saying. Like Gardner Minshew did have more success there, but I don't know. It's tough to say really.
Like Jacksonville is just an example, but I'm saying some people could say, I'm just playing devil's advocate here or whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's just like, he's been a backup for a reason for all this time. So we shouldn't be too quick to jump on like the Foles bandwagon, I guess.
That's why I'm not writing off Trubisky completely. Like I'm still giving him somewhat of a chance, but I just think the favorite right now is Foles.
Yeah, and what I think is an interesting idea is that I think that Trubisky is a player who thrives off of confidence. You can see some games, like for example, this year when he played, obviously he had a great game against the Redskins. He came back, he got hurt against the Vikings, so you couldn't really see what he was going to do. But had a good game against the Lions, came back the next week and had his best game of the year against the Cowboys. Yeah, it feels like he's a player who thrives off of confidence. If he has a bad game, he's inconsistent and he thrives off of confidence. So I think that, would you consider, if you were to start Nick Foles and Nick Foles started doing bad, what would be like a situation you would do? Because the whole Bears confidence in Trubisky would have been gone by that point. So I think that Trubisky would be playing pretty poorly considering that he has just no confidence at all.
Right, like just adding on to that question. Sorry, one sec.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like Nick Foles is a guy who's always been used to coming in for other players, whereas like what Oren was saying, Trubisky tries to strive off of confidence, and that whole thing with turning off the TVs. Like, I don't think he's very great when he's under scrutiny. So if he gets benched for Foles, coming back might be more of a struggle. Like Trubisky filling in for Nick Foles might be a harder transition than the opposite. Whereas like giving Mitch a shot and he doesn't work, then I think Foles would come in and still be a good player.
That's an interesting point. I think I definitely agree with that. Yeah. I feel like, I don't know if you guys watched his interview recently. Did you watch Trubisky's interview with the media? It was like 2 weeks ago, right? But he seemed like a really confident, like new person. I mean, obviously that's only from the comfort of his own house, so it's not really telling that much, but he seemed pretty confident. He seemed pretty like okay with the whole situation. So I don't know. I feel like either way, he might be okay. If Foles wins the job and, he does badly and then Mitch comes in, yeah, I mean, obviously he would not have the most confidence because he didn't start the season, but he would also have something to prove, right? Like he didn't get chosen. Now he wants to, come back and revive his career. Like he would have stuff to prove either way. But I do agree, like if he started the season, if Trubisky did, I feel like that would be probably a more easy transition, especially considering the fact that, we're playing the Lions week 1 and like we have a pretty easy schedule the first 4 weeks. So I feel like the first 4 weeks, like any quarterback could have success. So it might not really matter who we choose the first 4 weeks, but after that, we would want the better quarterback in play.
Right. And then just the flip side of that, because I'm just looking at all the sides of this here, is that if Trubisky does come in and even with the easy schedule we lose, that's basically a waste of a season. You don't want to have Trubisky for like as an experiment or whatever. If that doesn't work out, then it's wasting a season just to see if like the quarterback that they drafted still has something left in him. So it's another thing to consider, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing that I think is interesting to look at is that Trubisky, he said, like a bunch of his teammates, Allen Robinson, Demetrius Harris, David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, have all been working out with him. And I think that it's interesting that like some of his teammates have chose to work out with Trubisky rather than Foles. So do you think that like, I think that partially the confidence from his teammates is making him more confident. Just Trubisky, because you could tell he was very confident, way more confident than anyone would expect him to be. So do you think that like just him practicing with the players and the players choosing Trubisky over Foles would like actually have a big part in the Foles Trubisky?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good point you bring up. Like the relationships Trubisky built over the past 3 years, those definitely do mean something. Like being quarterback in the NFL, that's like one of the toughest jobs in all of sports, right? So you have to really know your teammates. You have to know them well, like know what their likes and dislikes are. So yeah, he has the upper edge when it comes to relationships with his teammates. But I also feel like if Foles is the better player overall, it won't really matter. Those relationships won't matter that much, right? Because Trubisky last year, he did struggle a lot, like hitting even open targets down the field. That's something that he missed quite frequently. So if Foles can do that right off the bat, I feel like it won't matter that much. But yeah, you're right. The relationships, they do mean something right now. Like right now, his teammates do believe in him still. I heard like Allen Robinson, he's still saying good things about Trubisky. Like you said, they're working out together. So, that's going to be a place where Foles, if he wants to win the job, he's going to have to work really hard, earning his teammates' trust. But I wouldn't doubt his ability to do so. So, yeah, to answer your question, I mean, yeah, Trubisky does have the upper leg, but, Foles could take it back anytime based on his play.
Yeah, something I would add on to that is basically what you were saying. Just because Trubisky has spent 3 years or, like 2 and whatever years with these guys doesn't mean that they necessarily have a positive outlook on him, because if he isn't making accurate passes, like you were saying, he was missing a lot of open passes downfield, then that could honestly make the players more like want to be with Foles more. So it's easy to say that, the players want to be with Trubisky because they've had him more. And I think that is generally true, but also just have to take into account not all the players might have such a great relationship with Trubisky right now.
Oh, I agree. And people that maybe don't like Trubisky right now on the roster, I feel like most people do like him. Most of the players like him. But if you don't like him, like you would probably not want to say that out loud. Like you don't want to ruin the team chemistry. So we really don't know what all the players are thinking maybe.
Yeah, and one last thing, I read this somewhere. I didn't hear that it would happen, but I thought it was interesting. Because Trubisky he's been clutch and not clutch game after the other. He's had very good games under pressure and had bad games under pressure. But Foles, you can tell he strives under pressure. So would you think that, first of all, would you ever consider having Trubisky in like 3/4 of the games and Foles in the last fourth quarter, depending on the score? Or maybe put in Foles during the playoffs, or if you need like a late playoff run, putting Foles in, even if Trubisky's doing well. Would you ever consider that? Because it's the big deal to change quarterbacks, but also Foles would just fit the situation better.
Yeah, personally, I wouldn't, because, it's really tough to change quarterbacks, right? That's like a major change you're making. If things are clicking, I would personally just stick with what's working. But yeah, you're right. Like Nick Foles has way more playoff experience. He has a lot more success in the playoffs. Maybe he does also strive better under pressure. I always think about like, what if Trubisky starts the whole season, he gets injured for the playoffs, and then Nick Foles comes in? Like that could be a possibility. But if that doesn't happen, I would probably just stick with whoever's in, because you don't want to mess something up that's, working, right? Like that would be just getting too cute, in my opinion. But
yeah, I definitely agree with that too, because I mean, Nagy is known for getting cute, but
yeah,
I don't think we're like the Ravens with Flacco, where they were subbing in Lamar Jackson.
Oh no,
no, I don't see this offense being able to work like that. If something's working, like if one quarterback's doing well, just leave them in. If they're not, sub them out. And like also, it's about like a quarterback. You can't expect the quarterback to come in right away and be amazing. It might take like a quarter or a game or something to develop confidence. But if you're constantly switching back and forth, like if like at the slightest time that one of the quarterbacks does badly, then I don't think either of them will reach their full potential.
Right. Agreed. Yeah.
So thank you for coming on again. This is
great talk. No problem, man. That was a lot of fun. Yo, if any of my fans are watching this, go subscribe to them, man. Putting out great content.
And you guys subscribe to DaWindyCity.
Thank you so much.
Bear down.
Yeah, bear down.
Awesome. Bear down.
If you enjoyed this episode of From the Den, please remember to subscribe, comment, and like this video.
Or, if you're a Packers fan, remember to dislike and leave a nasty comment. Click the links on the screen to access additional content.